Agile means ability to move quickly. Agile means iterative and incremental. Agile means I'm working with cross-functional teams. Maybe my team members may have a T-shaped skills. We are working as a team with common goal. As a team, we are owning up all the work. We always have a positive attitude. We are always ready to accept the failure, but from the perspective of learning from it. So we would always look for continuous learning. We will always be delivering a quality product. This team is empowered. They are able to take decisions by themselves, and they're always having a very clear-cut focus to deliver maximum value for their customers. The way Agile team works, they are open for looking for some changes happening over time in the requirement. And that is where we said Agile is all about your ability to respond to the changes. That's where you can connect the definition. So is Agile a framework? Answer is no. Agile is a mindset. Mindset of these features, what you notice that on the screen. Agile also says, I'm working with a set of items, which is called as product backlog. And this product backlog is nothing but a container of all the work what I need to do. And this work is arranged in the order of priority. And this priority is decided based on how much a business or a customer value this particular delivery can actually lead to. Now, when I say Agile, I think of introducing maybe the 4 manifesto of Agile. So what had happened is in 2001, 17 software developer, these guys thought that project management is taking up a shape. Can we do a get together and then try to work out some common methodology which would be serving as a guideline for carrying out the project's delivery? And when these guys were thinking of doing all these items, in their mind, they were only restricting for software development. When the manifesto was developed, it was primarily aiming for a guideline available for handling the projects which are for IT software. And if you notice few people's name here, for example, Jeff Sutherland, Ken Schwaber, these were the guys who have already created the Scrum by that time. Now, there is an interesting question for you to know. Is Scrum older than Agile or Agile older than Scrum? What do you think? Which came first? Scrum came first or Agile came first? The answer is Scrum came first. The first time Scrum was maybe talked about by both of these gentlemen, the Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schwaber, that was in year 1990s. And later, year 1995, that's the time they have shown it to the outside world. Okay. Now, few Agile practices which were very popular during that time, and few people who were considering to be the best practitioners understanding how maybe the software project management works. All these people, they have done a get together and they met in a resort called as Snowbird Resort in a place called Utah, UTAH, Utah. And in that place, after a lot of heated debates and discussions and all, they have arrived at a conclusion. And what they said is, the value on the left-hand side, the items on the left-hand side are having more value in comparison to the item on my right hand side. And what is that they wanted to communicate? What they said is individuals and interactions are more important than process and tool. Meaning, I respect the processes. Huh? I'm not saying processes are not important or not required. But the more important is the interactions what we are having it with the people. People are the one who are the one giving the requirements. So if I'm able to understand and work closely with the people, that means I'm able to understand all other items very well. It is the people who are saying yes or no to a decision. It is the people who are giving the requirement. It is the people, or rather individuals, who are taking a decision of approving or disapproving. So finally, it is the people you are dealing with. And what we have agreed that if you know how to deal with people, believe you me, then you can actually manage any of the project. So what they said is processes are okay, but more than processes, I should give more emphasis on engagement and dealing with the stakeholders. So I will give more priority to the way user is needing requirement, and I would try to support them. Sometimes people have a myth in their mind. They feel like agile means no process. Actually, that's wrong. Agile never says that you don't need any of the processes. But what Agile says is, I will prefer individual and interactions over process and tool. So it is never telling you that processes are not required. I'll give you one example. When I visit maybe a corporate campus or maybe a hotel, they have their own security policy, and they wanted to maybe make sure that they would check your identity card. They would, if you're traveling in a car, they will ensure you have a pre-approval, and they will ask you to open your maybe uh, the, the 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 boot space, the front of the car bonnet. They wanted to check whether you are carrying some explosives or some other harmful material or not. That's a very common thing done at the entrance of the building, actually. Very common process in many organizations, in some hotels also, in some organization campuses as well. In one of my training days, it was a training to happen on Saturday, and I was actually driving. I was actually in Bangalore, driving to the hotel for doing a program. The training was supposed to be starting at 9, and surprisingly, I met a very high traffic on the day. And by the time I was reaching the hotel, it was almost about 10 minutes left for the start of the training program. So psychologically, yes, I was under some pressure because 10 minutes left and I should be the one, if I'm the host of the program, I should be reaching much before than audiences or the participants. So when I reached at the main gate, I requested the security guard saying, you know me, I frequently come here. Would you mind if I hand over my car keys to you? And you can get my car frisking done and all other formalities. And of course, I have to give my car for a valet parking. So I'm there on a conference room number 4 on a first floor. Would you mind coming and handing over the keys to me? I got a reply from this gentleman saying, I would have done it if this was any other day, but now look at that side. You see a person standing ahead of the reception. I said, yes. He says, he's my manager and he may not allow me to take your vehicles and get it passed. Indirectly, what he hinted me is that if he was not there, I could have allowed you to get in without doing any frisking, or we would have done it on your behalf. Now, if at all you are not showing him a process chart saying, guys, all vehicles need to be frisked, is that a process chart you're showing, or you're trying to do some interactions and details with him saying, hey guys, why is that you should do a security check? It is your security, it is your other colleagues' security, and the guests who are already in that hotel or in that building. It is in the interest of those security that you should be frisking that guy. Anybody who says bypass, tell them it is required for your own benefits and such bypass cannot be permitted. If I explain this to him on why that security check is required, do you think he would allow anybody to pass through just like that? And now do a comparison of maybe any of the airports in India. Can you enter inside the airport without a boarding pass? As a normal citizen, I cannot. Unless until I'm a VIP, or maybe I'm a staff working inside of the airport, and then I show them the ID card and they would allow me to get in. These are the only reasons you can be allowed to get in. Otherwise, I have to show the my ID card, my tickets, and then only I'll be permitted to go inside. And if you have played around, you'll have to face the difficulty. If you have generated some ticket somehow, and you are trying to enter in the airport with that ticket, you would have to face some huge penalty, because they don't allow you to come out based on your interest. If you are coming out, it has to be the reason, and that gets into an maybe in scrutiny and audit that why you want to come out. There is a possibility you have kept a bag which is filled with explosive and now you are returning back. So it's not permitted actually, if you ask me. Unless until I told you the exceptions. You are a VIP or you may be a staff working inside of the airport. So for the people who are at the airport, security is the utmost work, and they have been given very good work. They have to follow processes at the same time. Individual interactions, all is important. They have been given the mandate. So come what may, they will follow their the guidelines, what they have to follow. Okay, coming back, let us take example of working software over comprehensive documentation. Do I show you a PPT of how much progress, or do I show you an actual work on how much progress of the work what I'm doing? If I'm delivering a website, is it better for me you to show that website and see how this website is looking like, what features are enabled and what are not? Or I show you some screenshot saying all are done. In reality, website may not be even opening. I'm not against the documentation here. I repeat, I'm not against the documentation. I'm against the excessive documentation. That's the guideline what Agile Manifesto has given. A working product is the best way. I'm using a word product wherever you see a word software here. Because when manifesto was written, it was written for software, but it holds good even nowadays with the any kind of products what I'm developing in. That's the reason in reading I'm actually using a word called working product instead of software. But the meaning still remains the same. Huh? It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be a result. Now, if I'm working for a bank, I know that KYC is mandatory, right? Know your customer, which means you have to show some document proof, and your bank should know with you with your documents proof and all, which is a government ID or something like that. Could be a voter ID card, could be Aadhaar card, or very similar thing. Now you can open up your bank account without physically sharing a document with him of your ID proof. Just speak out your Aadhaar number. He would punch in the system. You will get one-time password on your phone. Give that, and the other guy can automatically take your name, address, photo, everything how it is mentioned in the Aadhaar card, and he'll be ready to utilize this for creating a bank account for you. And all that happen over a telephonic call, over a in-person, without you physically sharing the document with him. See how interesting it is, working product. You'll be surprised for some of these banks who have started doing this process, the account number of the bank can be given to you within 5 minutes of you starting the process of creating a bank account. Rather than wasting time in driving and be in a queue at the a bank to get this job done, all that can be done over online mode. The verifications can happen with a video call. If they want your face to be verified, some credentials to be verified, it can be done via video call. What a good usage of technology. Working software over comprehensive documentation. So too much of paperwork, or with working product, you are able to get the stuff done. So you need to tell me, do you see more value when you see a working product, or do you see more value when you see a document stating I have done something? Which one has the more impact when it has to be a regular status reporting to your stakeholders? Working product.
Software.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now look at a third line item, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Now in a normal traditional project, you go by a purchase order. And a project manager is generally advised not to deviate from the scope. If at all there is a scope deviation, show him a bill saying change of the request would have to undergo a change approval process. And if that happens, and there could be this much dollar increase in the initial cost. And of course, it might have an impact on the time and the money too both. A change in scope is leading to other changes. If I'm a customer and you are working for me for creating a software, and if I'm a grocery player, if I was having a showrooms in the market, it was important for me to have a good software to have right inventory at all point in time. That was very good for me, but now there is a need for me. COVID has come in. I should be able to have an app which can enable my end customer to utilize my portal, my software, and they can start ordering that product. Now, if I want you to carry out these changes, you are showing me a purchase order saying, no, sir, you have given me a PO, I can't change. So if you cannot give me that, I might cancel that PO and say, hey, thank you very much. I have somebody else who's ready to give me a ready-made app, and I have to just customize this to the products and quantity what I have to sell. So two things which are coming here. Am I very much strict and saying I will go by only paper documentation, whatever is mentioned in contract, I can't deviate, no negotiation possible? Or am I open to see what is making my customer surviving in the market and making him competitive to survive in his own businesses? If I don't agree, somebody else would agree, and he would actually pull from you. He might say, hey, we don't want to work with this company. This company is never collaborating. That's the principle number 3. Sorry. And then you have the 4th principle, which says responding to change over following a plan, which very clearly says that I am open to respect the request of changes coming into me, but should it mean that I'm going to be saying yes to everything possible? So responding to change would not mean that I'm going to be accepting all changes. This would mean that I will give you a response and I will try to see if at all something can be accommodated across the way. So when you are working in Agile, you are working in iterative and incremental way, which means you are very clearly highlighting the importance of showing something working, taking a feedback, and then trying to take a decision to come out from those. So basically inspect and adapt happening. So that's the reason we are doing iteration planning. I'm not doing a whole project planning in one go. I will show the work what I've done in the previous iteration to the customer. Customer would review. I will take the iteration review feedback seriously, do a retrospective, and when I do my next iteration planning, I would see what changes can I incorporate to make my customer competitive in his business domain. So that's the responding to change over following a plan. Plans are important, but can I do adaptive planning? Rather than being rigid on that plan, which is getting prepared in the beginning, can I be a little open for frequent change of those plans? Now, I will ask you one small easy question, and this question is for everyone who's part of this discussion and a call. Hey guys, I wanted to meet everyone by 9 a.m. sharp in the morning, Monday morning, and I wanted to meet everyone at the domestic airport terminal of Bangalore. Is that possible? Let us assume that outside situations are normal, no lockdown, no curfew. Is it possible all of us can meet on Monday 9 a.m. morning?
Maybe no.
No. Could be possible.
What's the prime reason you feel we can't meet?
There will be multiple factors. It could be traffic, it could be climate, it could be something more.
Interesting,
Working
actually.
breakdown.
Interesting. Now, let me ask you another question. When you are working in a traditional project management, you try to arrive at some timelines and you say that, hey, dear customer, I will deliver this project to you 2 years from now. Let us say that maybe June 2023, 1st June 2023, I'll give you this project delivery. When I'm asking you a forecast of 2 days from now, you are finding it difficulty to commit that time, but you are able to commit a time to your customer and saying 2 years from now, you will have 100% project delivery happening from our side. So how's that possible?
In fact, most of the project they don't complete on that committed time.
And can I also assume there is a lot of buffer before you try communicating that timeline? There is a lot of
Yes,
buffer which is baked in. And one more thing which I wanted to add up. A change request CR is a very common word in many of the organizations. How much time generally it takes for a CR to get approved?
it also takes a lot of time.
Can I say a week's time or a 10 days time? What do you think would be more apt?
That's correct.
Let us say 7 days time, huh? And in a project, I'm getting about, let us say 20 change requests in a project. Now take 20 change requests multiplied by 7 and then look at how many days are we only waiting for changes to get approved. Why? Because you created a plan which was created in the beginning and now there are changes coming up and you are trying to take time to approve those changes because your initial plan was not considering the dynamic situation what you might have to face in reality. When you're creating a plan today, it is based on whatever knowledge you have available, the best of that knowledge. But market is dynamic, things are changing, product requirement is changing. So that's a reason too much ahead of the project, if you're trying to plan something, there is a possibility it may be needing a lot of adjustment and fine tuning. That was very clearly helping me to correlate on the principle of responding to change over following a plan. Okay,